Hey everyone, welcome to another G News update. And it's A for Audrey and E for Erica. Well, Audrey would like to give Erica an A, and she wrote a glowing puff piece about how it's been Erica's week. In fact, it's been Erica's year, according to Audrey Young. But as we all saw, Audrey's ministry came out with 18 E's, that's 18 errors today when it came to the math curriculum, which wasn't a very good look, particularly for people that were talking about doing the basics when it came to maths brilliantly, because this wasn't very brilliant, was it? 18 errors in the actual resources that teachers need to use. So they weren't exactly being brilliant when it came to implementation, and things didn't add up. There were some real errors there for Erica. But Audrey Young went further to say that the reason that she thought that Erica was just so wonderful, the great golden girl of the corporate world, was because she managed to implement this NCEA change, which was a big ruthless change, without any kind of challenge or backlash from anybody, really, and that she put down to Erica just being kind of like supreme and amazing and wonderful, the golden girl. But as you know, anybody that reads around will tell you, basically Audrey just wasn't telling the full truth here in the New Zealand Herald, because the truth of the matter was that there'd been quite a scathing review over at the Post by an education consultant who pointed out the fishhooks in the plan so far. One of those was basically that people that really need a good education, who are young and coming up through the system, will continue to use the existing system until the other one is actually implemented. So what's going to be done about supporting them? Secondly, there was the idea that if you didn't pass 4 out of 5 of these exams that you have to qualify for the new qualifications, then what happens to you? You just get thrown on the scrap heap, because this system doesn't cater for all, and especially those that need it most. And thirdly, that Erica herself had only visited 10 high schools, 10 secondary schools in 2024 and 2025. That's only 10. And she'd steered well away from the high schools that need it most. So Erica wasn't really A material like Audrey was trying to pin on her. She wasn't the golden girl. She was more like a D, you know, kind of a fail, really. And this was a desperate hodgepodge implementation, crap implementation. And here were the pom-pom girls at the propaganda rag run by Stephen Joyce, trying to say that something pretty botched up and that didn't add up, 18 errors, was somehow really great and wonderful, and congratulations, Erica. Well, in other news, we also had our friend from the past, the Manglemouth himself, conservative former leader of the National Party, Simon Brudges, saying that it was time now that the central government helped out Auckland, because he'd read those statistics that had come out yesterday about unemployment, and it turned out that although Nicola Willis was saying it was a big win, Auckland was coming in at 6.1% unemployment, which was soaring way above the national average. And Simon Bridges was saying, well, look, come on, central government, do something for us. But the sad fact of the matter is it was too late. Simon should have been talking about this a lot earlier and left it till after the facts had already materialised. And now we're in a situation where you've got Nicola Willis trying to boast that things are better than they could have been, that it was all the previous government's fault, and that suddenly Treasury forecasts, which were primarily and plainly wrong in her own view, were now plainly correct. And you couldn't argue with them, like she had herself. So this was all a bit of a mess this morning, and it just goes to show the divisions in the National Party between the, I'll just move this umbrella, between the people who were truly conservatives and the people that have captured the National Party, who are libertarians, who are basically ACT Party people out of right-wing think tanks like the New Zealand Initiative, or aligned with them like Chris Bishop. We also had Simeon Brown mouthing off again today. But I mean, I won't talk about him. I mean, we all know what's going on with privatisation and him. When it came to privatisation, there was further talk at the post about the idea that if you just look at New South Wales, because New South Wales is perfect, you'll see how the National Party idea of recycling assets is being sold to the public already. This is in preparation for the election campaigns next year, when the National Party will come out and say, look, if we sell more of your assets and privatise, then we'll be able to pay for our existing ones that haven't been maintained. So that will be the big sales line. They're already trying it. There's very little in the way of balance in the reporting at the post, so you're not seeing anything but the sales job coming out under Tracy Watkins' watch along with Atlas Luke. So I think what we're basically very mindful in New Zealand of is what happened in the 1980s and the 1990s under Ruth Richardson, when we sold a big fire sale of state assets, and ever since that time things have actually slowly eroded for the middle classes. As we talked about yesterday, your price of your power bills, look at them now compared to what they used to be for mum and dad. That's right. And housing, couldn't you buy a house now? Or what happens, are you locked out of the owning a house market forever because of the way that we've all made our productivity about buying houses and selling them to each other? Well, that was basically the kind of bullshit going on when it comes to recycling assets. So you've got the likes of Fran O'Sullivan, who thinks that if you're doing it in New South Wales or maybe in Singapore, then we should just follow blindly what they say, because after all, the New Zealand Initiative have been banging on about recycling assets for some time, and no doubt we'll see a lot of press and salesmanship from Roger Partridge in the Herald soon about the same idea, because these kind of ideas are sold in campaigns in our commercial media. In other news, we had a bit of a grumble again about what Shane Jones is trying to do in the fishing industry. Last night we saw Rachel Boyack come on to TVNZ1 News and state the case that this wasn't really very good, and we're actually really just kind of like not being very sustainable about our fishing. We're still doing bottom trawling in New Zealand. So hopefully I'll get to talk to Rachel on G News soon. We've had a preliminary chat about having a chat. There will also be next week, something you should be aware of is that the People's Select Committee for Pay Equity are doing its Select Committee hearings starting in August, and I think the first ones kick off next week. So hopefully there'll be some people that would like to talk on G News about that and publicise those efforts a little bit further, because none of us in New Zealand like to see the government ambush in Project 10, a secretive attempt to sneak up and steal pay equity. It's just not fair. It's not the Kiwi way. If you're going to vote for the National Party, you're voting for unfairness, for kind of pay equity theft, and for the ongoing, sex-based discrimination against women in the workforce, which I don't think anybody wants anymore. And that's, century-old stuff that we're just seeing the ACT Party and National riding over. In further news, we also had the announcement that Chris Bishop was making, that he wasn't responsible, or the government wouldn't own any of the job losses that we're seeing. Once again, Chris Bishop pretending that the building industry are all lying to us, much like the City Mission, and that he refuses to accept that the government owns any of the job losses in construction due to the massive delays, the massive slump caused by the government stalling projects to build houses, to build schools and classrooms. And it's just outright bollocks. It doesn't make sense. And everyone's listening to the industry. On G News, a brief poll on that issue showed that overwhelmingly the people believe that the people in the building industry itself, the people at the front lines who have lost their jobs, and they shouldn't be told to wear a glass half full attitude about the fact that they've lost their income. Well, what else was there? Well, there was other news as well, but it's getting a bit hard to remember this sitting in the rain here at Oniroa. This is Little Oniroa Beach, a beautiful beach, but it often suffers from pollution that comes down from the valley when it rains, and often we've actually got water testing here showing that there's a bit much crap in the water here, so you have to be a bit careful when you go swimming at Little Oniroa. But it's an iconic, beautiful beach, as you can see in the background on this stormy day. I'd like to thank everybody who has helped G News today. As you know, Vicky was made unemployed last week. So at the moment, all we've got to keep G News afloat is your donations and your koha. And I'd just like to thank you, you know, even if you didn't give anything and you're just listening to this now. At the end of this, I'll just put my bank account details if you want to help keep this show on the air and keep it going. This morning I had the opportunity to have a little chat on Waiheke Radio, and that was great, talking about local issues. And one of those issues that came up was that the Mayor of Auckland, Wayne Brown, is not responding to requests to have a debate, and he's not engaging in democracy, and he's kind of showing everyone a complete lack of enthusiasm for democracy. Maybe he thinks he's already won the local body elections. Maybe this is about arrogance. But others think that if he pitched up and did a debate, he could only lose, you know, because he's not particularly good when it comes to actually talking about those issues. And so far, our friend Karen Leone, who had actually done a podcast on G News, is the only person that had responded and said, yes, she's up for this debate. So I think we should vote for the people that are prepared to be transparent in the Auckland mayoralty elections. That's my opinion. Let's have those debates. Let's see Wayne pitch up. It's not good enough, Wayne. Come on, Wayne. Stop being anti-democratic. Stop thinking you've already got this in the bag. Come on, that's not the Kiwi way. You might think you're an engineer that knows everything, but some of us haven't forgotten what happened during those Auckland floods and what kind of bungle you did there. And just because you've got all the money behind you doesn't make you the automatic choice for Aucklanders. You know, we do have the vote as our way of showing what we really think is a good job or not. So that's probably about all I had to say. There was most likely a few other issues there. But 18 errors from Erica, I mean, it's certainly not a bouquet or, you know, a great job from Erica, as much as Audrey would like to award an A to Erica for that. And I think we're also seeing Winston absent and LuxCon absent when it comes to what's going on in the Cook Islands. Reuters reported today that the State Department announced, much to the surprise of our government, that the Cook Islands have been talking to the Americans about doing further research into mineral extraction on the seafloors around the Cook Islands. So once again, Winston Peters goofing off, asleep at the job, not talking to the people he should be talking to, not knowing what's going on, blaming other people. This whole idea of like snubbing the Cook Islands and not talking to them and thinking that that's going to help, that's got to end. We've got to get adults in the room that get beyond being grumpy and playing politics and just get on and go and do the job. Stop avoiding the job. Stop playing these, I'm not talking to you. That's just kind of sulking and teenage stuff. So anyway, it's a beautiful rainy day here on Waiheke Island, and I've just got a new t-shirt which I'll just show you. This is, it looks like Rocky Horror, but it's actually a Waiheke Island t-shirt based on the Rocky Horror motif. And I'm going tonight to quiz night to see if I can repeat the performance of winning some coconut clusters, you know, by answering some questions at quiz night. Anyway, everybody, have a wonderful day. Rain or shine, we'll just keep going, have some faith. And thank you very much for helping us. I'll leave my details here now. Catch you all later.
Welcome to G News, the good news.
Yeah, right.